Oh boy, here we go. Shiro and Lancer versus Bazett and Avenger. Sort of, yeah. We finally met on the hill road leading towards the church. Lancer kept his promise.
Yo, nanda, 時間よりちょい早いじゃねえか。
His jokes might be casual, but his armor isn't. It was half a year ago that I last saw him in full battle array. Ah, that's right. It's already been half a year since the war ended.
それでどう戦うんだ？相手の戦法は知ってるって言ってたけど、対策は立ってるのか？
Stopping the as of yet unseen master's trump card, Frigrak, is the key to this battle.
いや、フラガラックは封じられねえ。ありゃよくできた迎撃宝具だ。まあ正直に戦えばまず負ける。こと切り札の出し合いなら、フラガラックは最強の一つと言っていい。
Okay. Still, Lancer says, there's no way to defeat Frigrak. That thing is a missile that reacts to the enemy's trump card and is released when a clash occurs. Thus, to defeat Bazett, one must not use one's own noble phantasm. If you restrain your own trump card, Frigrak's power will be effectively halved.
それだけ？
それだけ。こっちが宝具さえ使わなけりゃ、フラガラックは波の宝具だ。まあ、向こうは好きに切り札を使えるんで、宝具なしじゃちときついんだが。
The look in Lancer's eyes tell me that there's no way he would lose with this strategy. Come to think of it, amateur magic and regular ranged attacks like arrows and knife throwing won't even scratch him. His combat skill is also superior to Bazett's. Should he fight consistently, victory shouldn't be a problem. However,
あの女とは宝具で蹴りをつける。すぐに済むから、お前は離れて様子を見てろ。
okay. Frigrak is undefeatable. Despite this fact, Lancer still rose to the sword's challenge. We climb up the hill towards the makeshift arena. The moonlight is dim, and my eyes cloud a little when I look up. The moon is dark tonight, or perhaps the stars are close. In the void of the night, where one can touch the darkness with a stretch of hand, there are two figures awaiting our arrival. No longer knowing how many times this had occurred before, the Lady Magus, followed by the dark shadow Avenger, fixes her stare onto the enemy as always. Oh boy. Yep. As if seeing a ghost, her sight becomes transfixed onto Lancer's figure. Lancer pays no attention to the Magus. With his index finger, he estimates the distance to his foe. 1, 2, 3, 4. The distance is about 10 meters. He steps into throwing range and points the tip of his spear to the ground.
Eoro, Nido, Ansu, Yin.
Was that some sort of spell? No. A square with a rune at each corner appears, but it doesn't feel like magic at work. Not moving a step away from his position, Lancer swings his spear once in the direction of his opponent. Your move. No names are exchanged. The battle's aura speaks for itself.
アベンジャー。あれは なんだ
Bazett asked the shadow.
何言って、サーバントだよ。
not
一目瞭然じゃないか。
not that dummy.
そんなはずはない。あんなサーバントは今までいなかった。
Wait, can she not see Lancer?
あれは何のサーバントだ、アベンジャー。
Shouldn't that be obvious? Wait, does he look like what Avenger looks like to us? To her?
セイバーでもない。アーチャーでもない。
Or is she just repressing the memories?
ライダーでもキャスターでもアサシンでもない。あれは
それこそ一目瞭然だ。
Yeah.
なあマスター、あの獲物を見てまだ何もわからないのか？
The shadow cackles. Yeah. But now, the Lady Magus has lost all her fighting spirit. Gazing at the enemy in front of her, she's about to burst into tears, not even sure why herself. Then Lancer's cold words pierce her heart.
おい、今からあんたを殺すわけだが。
She lifts her fists, as if she's afraid. Her resolve is completely gone.
待ってください。私はあなたと戦う理由はない。
But you do.
あなただって私と戦う理由は。
I feel bad for her. Cause like I mean, yeah, she's selfishly going on with this, even though she knows she's causing other people to suffer by keeping the ward going. But yeah, like again, I understand she doesn't want to die, but like, man, it's just a shitty situation, to be honest.
あるだろう。あんたは聖杯戦争に勝つために来た。サーバントを全て倒すまで戦いは終わらない。あんたは今、俺と殺し合うためにここにいる。
The shadow laughs. A smile that says, "That's right."
違う。私はあなたとは戦わない。そうだ。あなたとは戦わない。あなたとは戦わない。あなたとは戦わない。だってあなた私のこと知ってる？
知らねえよ。あんたみたいな負け犬に覚えはない。
I was expecting him to say yeah, and that's exactly why I had to do this. But no, he's just provoking her instead. Okay. A simple sentence. Her knees nearly give out, like a puppet with its strings cut.
では、あなたは私の敵か。
Yep. Not the sport of strings, but her own will keeps her standing.
そうだ。この後ゴウラ、ルーン使いなら意味がわかろうよ。
その陣を敷いた戦士に敗走は許されず、その陣を見た戦士に退却は許されない。我ら赤枝の騎士に伝わる一騎打ちの大金塊だ。
Knights of the Red Branch. Lancer's spear is red, so I assume that's what it's referring to. Plus, she had the ear. Yeah, probably. That is the real reason behind the magic that Lancer cast. The Lady Magus resumes her battle pose. The spearman grips the cursed lance tightly with both hands. The air freezes. Lancer's noble phantasm is eagerly waiting for its master's call. And on the other side, 10 meters away from him, a lead-colored sphere is floating behind the Lady Magus' figure. This is a mystery of Bazett Frager McCremitz, the sword Fragerak from the Age of Gods. Lancer is well aware of its abilities, and had also concluded that its limitless countering power cannot be defeated. Yet having made that judgment, his grip does not weaken.
その心臓
The spearman's arms ripple with strength. It is not a throw. Lancer's own body becomes one with his spear.
アンサラ
The sphere starts expanding. That sword of the gods, protected by a mysterious force and a certain concept, locks onto the spearman's heart.
もらい受ける
The leap and revelation of the true name, all in the same instant. The first to take to the air was the cursed red spear, Gaibolg.
甘く見たなサーバント
Fragerak, the sword that alters light, rises to intercept it. The oath of Athengabla leaves no room for hesitation. Both are aiming to destroy the enemy with their greatest strike. The points cross. An attack that means death to both of them. The spearman does not have a shield to deflect the sword, and the Magus cannot dodge the lance. However, if they are to strike each other simultaneously, the Lady Magus will come out unharmed. Just by a little. Should the Magus sword hit its target just a little sooner, the battle will be decided that very instant. Fragerak, the sword that alters light. What this sword gouges out isn't the enemy's heart. It severs the fate of mutual destruction. It is a cursed sword of certain victory. Because of this, it is impossible for Fragerak to attack first. The enemy has to use his trump card before that. That is a prerequisite for releasing Fragerak. The enemy will always move first. Accordingly, even if Fragerak defeats the enemy in one blow, the Lady Magus will be simultaneously destroyed by the opponent's double phantasm. What sounds like a certain kill is a mutual attack made with the premise of one's own death. However, Bazett's sword reverses all of that. It is released immediately after the activation of the enemy's double phantasm. Yet no matter how fast the opposing weapon is, it will always reach its target first, taking the enemy's life. A noble phantasm that delivers the final blow in a needle-thin concentrated blast. That alone deserves praise. But its truly dreaded power lies in its special ability. That which comes later cuts first. Like that second name implies, Fragerak warps the idea of cause and effect, rewriting its own attack as the event that occurred first. And the result? No matter how great a noble phantasm may be, the dead cannot use it. The one who is killed first cannot counterattack. Fragerak is a mystic code that exaggerates this fact. It is a conceptual curse that distorts fate. That weapon is a cursed sword of reversal that can nullify any attack. With time as its blade, this trick of the gods has no equal. And therefore, Lancer, who released his spear first, will not be accepted from this curse. The sword of the war god is approaching. Once Fragrak is let loose, it cannot be stopped. The moment he used Gaibolg against Fragrak, he had already lost. The spearman is well aware of this. To survive an attack made by the sword of the war god, one needs to possess an auto-resurrecting noble phantasm, or more than one life. In other words, something that is resurrected after being killed would be Fragrak's natural enemy. Of course, Lancer doesn't have anything of the sort. The spearman knew the conclusion of the battle he entered before it even started. At that time, for only a split second, he thought he saw the man in front of him waver.
言いたかないんだけどさ。割と切羽詰まってんだわ、こっち。時間制限があるとは思っていなかった。
Wait, did Avenger talk to Lancer? He had no way of understanding what it meant. Only...
頼むよ。このままだとつまらない結果になる。彼女がそういう風になるのは嫌なんだ。
That man's complaint was one he had experienced as well. It's an old story. Perhaps I wanted to be killed by your hands. In a serene voice, as in a prayer, the witch from the realm of shadows smiled. Oddly enough, that's when he received his demonic spear. The witch was no longer human. She had excelled too much as a warrior, been too knowledgeable in sorcery, and slain too many men, gods, and spirits. The woman who'd been only the teacher that the Hound of Kulan ever looked up to, had been saddled with a fate where even her own death was out of her reach. The witch's realm will one day be sundered from the mortal world, reduced to a land of the dead. The reward for a human that became too close to godhood was ascension to a planet that is neither of this world, nor the next. What a predicament. I suppose I should have died before I became this way. In the gloomy castle's garden, the witch laughed. It was the same hearty laugh that he was so fond of. The beloved disciple, still but a youth, had finally arrived at the castle by the shortest route. Even so, if only you were born a little earlier, young, still so young. The witch chuckled. The beloved disciple accepted it as a mature warrior.
悪かったな。
He had intended to live fast, but
どうやら寄り道が過ぎたようだ。
as a man, he had left the woman he loved until it was too late, and regretted it. The war god's sword pierces the man's chest. Sharp pain, a feeling he'd almost forgotten, briefly fills him with energy. Strength flows into the crumbling fist again. The spear has left behind but one regret. The demonic spear only ever took away the lives of his loved ones. His one and only close friend. his son that grew up in a distant foreign land. But before that, it was meant to kill a single woman. Thinking back, he spent his whole life getting sidetracked. One person is not a substitute for another, but if doing so will save someone, then he might as well accomplish now what he regretted not being able to in his youth. His lips curl into a resolute grin. The spearman grimaces as his heart is torn apart, and...
ああ、しかしどうしてこういい女にばっかり縁がないのかね。
Though late in doing so, he complains about his fate.
取った。
And so, the Lady Magus is confident in her victory. The sword of the war goddess hit its target before the enemy's lance. At that moment, the enemy's attack became an impossible event that will disappear back in time. This is the world's fundamental law. A natural result, protected by the absolute order that is time. Yet there is another law for her to learn. A concept may be defeated by another concept. The spearman is no exception to the curse of time either. It ruptures. Like a flash of lightning, the sharp tip pierces through her ribcage. The moment it shoots through the heart, the spear becomes 1,000 sharp horns, destroying the female Magus's body from within. Her body breaks open. Pain and surprise force out her sealed memories. Fragrak may be the curse that alters the order of events, but this spear is a weapon that truly reverses the cause and effect itself. The moment his true name is revealed, Guy Bolg has already pierced the enemy's heart. Thus, even going back in time to kill its master is useless. For a spear that already held the piercing of the adversary's heart as the result, even the death of its master will not prevent this duty from being fulfilled. Yeah, that's how it was. Her dying brain cannot recognize the enemy in front of her eyes, yet... This was a clash between two opposing rules. This man is the only opponent in this world that would revert it to the natural order.
あんたに別れは言っていなかった。
She notices the spearman before her. A little far. Even if she reaches out as far as she can, she would just barely fail to reach him.
忘れ物だ。これはあんたに返しておく。
The spear is pulled out. With a clank, something hard drops to the ground. Unable to keep upright, the Magus body collapses. She falls over into a pool of her own blood, with her pupils already fading. She finds the earring carved from ore, rolling on the ground. She remembers it. So she manages to reach out and grasp it tightly. This action uses up half of her remaining life, but the feeling of the stone in her palm makes her happy enough for it to be worth it. lying on the ground. She tries to reach into her pocket, but her arms can no longer move away, or can no longer move. She cannot take out the amulet she has stowed away.
ねえ待って、私これと同じの持ってる。
She doesn't understand what she's trying to say herself, but the fact that she can't show what's inside her pocket fills her with so much sorrow. She becomes that much further away from understanding. The spearman is leaving. Eyes full of sorrow, the magus happily repeats again and again.
待って、私持ってるの。持ってるの。持ってるの。持ってる。
Like I said, man, I do feel bad for Bazett. Like, she just got dealt a really shit hand. 10 seconds later, even that has stopped. All told, it took 1 minute. Lancer's prediction was painfully accurate. Yeah, you're not looking too hot. Yeah, you're probably gonna disappear, I assume, right? Stepping away from Bazett's corpse, Lancer lets out a heavy sigh. He's using his spear like a walking stick to support his blood-stained body. In any case, the outcome is clear. The only one left is Bazett's servant, Avenger. Without his master, he shouldn't put up too much of a fight.
お見事。で、俺とやる気力は残ってるか、ランサー。
残ってると言いたいが、ほら、なんだ。こっちの問題で無理そうだな。
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. Lancer's body is fading away. The battle between Fragarak and Guy Bolg was one of mutual destruction. Each received a blow, so there's no reason why Lancer would be the only survivor.
悪いな。あとは好きにやってくれ。だいたい俺の仕事はここまでだろ、小僧。
Yep. Thank you, Lancer. This must be a true man's spirit. Muttering something about losing face, he soon disappears. But what now? Bazett, thought to be the one reproducing the Holy Grail War, is now defeated. There's no dramatic change yet. Oh, there's no dramatic change yet. But we should be freed from the binds of these 4 days at dawn.
まさか。バゼットを殺したところで聖杯戦争は終わらない。何しろ、俺がいる限り何度でも蘇るからな、そいつは。
But we've seen that even killing you doesn't... Actually, have neither of them been dead at the same time? That could be it. As long as one lives to the 4th day. The Shadow laughs. His master is dead, yet Avenger seems to be unaffected.
お前は。まあ待て。そう張り切るな。せっかくバゼットを殺したんだ。とっておきのショータイムが待ってるぜ。
Special show? What? The moon is dyed black. All of a sudden, those beasts have gathered around the church. Failed.
なんだこいつら全然やる気がない
The beasts aren't moving an inch. Their glittering eyes are transfixed not on me, but on the servant. Delighted by the failure of another, distorted by the perverted glee. Yes, again, failed again.
マスターを失ったからな。俺も奴らの仲間入りかよ。
Spoken like a condemned criminal, terrified of the ultimate punishment. I don't want this, he says. The servant genuinely begs me to help, then. With a tearing sound, he transforms into a hideous monster. Yes.
お前は一体
He's the same. The servant Avenger's entire body is melting, morphing into the shape of one of those beasts.
こうして俺は失敗する。
Wait, are all of the beasts him throughout the loops? Like every time Bazett dies, he transforms into that, and they're all him?
よく見ておけ、エミヤシロ。これが正体だ。俺は無限に失敗する。俺は無限に死に続ける。この俺がいる限り、聖杯戦争が終わることはない。
You too. His body is shivering. The thing that used to be Avenger, despite being terrified by the surrounding beasts and bleeding profusely all over its body, holds on to its sanity and continues to cry out.
いいか。天の杯に至れ。
Okay.
虚無を埋めろ。やめろ。聖杯を満たせ。やめろ。可能性を皆殺しにしろ。やめろ。見えない。もう何も見えない。そうだ。本物の俺を殺しに来い。やめて。来ないでよ。殺しに来たら殺してやる。
The black shadows being devoured by the beasts. The ceremony didn't take much time. The beasts are disappearing one by one, and then finally in its place. Lacking all signs of intelligence, a new, hideous creature is crouching in front of me. Our eyes meet. The creature tilts its head curiously, and then hops into the bushes like a frog. What the fuck? I'm the only one left in the square. Bazett's body has disappeared without a trace as well. Returned to the first day, probably.
天の杯
Yeah, that's what he said. The words are familiar. Heaven's Cup. In the Holy Grail War 6 months ago, there was a little girl that went by that name. That should be the last piece of this puzzle. On that day, awaiting its end with the break of dawn, In the winter castle where the little girl waits, the last path will be revealed. Learn the truth behind the ruins. At the winter castle, the Holy Grail awaits. Learn the truth. Okay. Huh. But okay, so I guess it makes sense, the fact that the fact that those creatures in Avenger are the same, because when Shira was fighting them with Karin on the hilltop, he said, or well, not said, but it was stated that there was plenty of examples to copy from, to examine for him to reproduce Avengers blades. So I guess it would make sense that I guess those blades become the claws, and that, yeah, okay, yeah, it makes sense, sort of. Okay, 91.6%.